This miraculous encounter between the Blessed Virgin Mary and a young peasant girl, Bernadette Soubirous, in 1858, continues to inspire millions of believers worldwide. The story unfolds in the small town of Lourdes, France, where a series of supernatural events changed not only Bernadette's life, but also the course of Christian devotion. Bernadette Soubirous was born on January 7, 1844, in the town of Lourdes, a small village in southwestern France, near the Pyrenees Mountains. She was the eldest child born to François Soubirous and Louise Castereau, who were both hard-working but extremely poor. Although the Soubirous family once ran a mill and lived in relative comfort, financial struggles forced them into deep poverty. By the time Bernadette was a child, they had lost their business and were living in a small, damp, and abandoned prison cell called Le Cachot. The conditions were harsh, there was little food, and sickness was common. From a young age, Bernadette suffered from asthma and other respiratory illnesses, making her physically weak. Despite these struggles, she had a deep devotion to prayer and the rosary. However, because of her family's poverty, she had very little formal education. At 14 years old, she still could not read or write properly, and she had not yet received her first Holy Communion because she struggled to memorize the necessary prayers. Bernadette's life was one of hardship and simplicity. She spent her days helping with housework and tending sheep. She did not seek attention, nor did she stand out among the villagers. Yet, despite her humble background, she was about to become the center of one of the most extraordinary events in history. On the cold morning of February 11, 1858, Bernadette, along with her younger sister Toinette and their friend Jean Abadie, went to collect firewood near the Gave de Pau River. As they approached the Massabielle Grotto, a shallow cave-like opening in a rocky hillside, they searched for dry wood. As Bernadette prepared to cross a small stream, she heard a sudden rush of wind. Looking up, she saw something unusual within the grotto. There, in a natural niche of the rock, stood a young, radiant woman dressed in white. She wore a flowing white robe, a blue sash around her waist, and a white veil covering her head. Golden roses adorned her feet, and a rosary of white beads with a golden chain hung from her hands. Bernadette was transfixed. She instinctively reached for her own rosary and began to pray. The beautiful lady also moved her fingers along her rosary, but remained silent. After a few moments, the vision vanished. When Bernadette told her family what had happened, her mother forbade her from returning, fearing ridicule from the townspeople. However, something inside Bernadette compelled her to go back. Over the next several weeks, Bernadette returned to the grotto, experiencing a total of 18 apparitions between February 11th and July 16th, 1858. During these encounters, the lady spoke to Bernadette, revealing messages of prayer, penance, and humility. On February 18th, the lady spoke for the first time, asking Bernadette to return for 15 consecutive days. On February 25th, the lady instructed Bernadette to drink from the spring. Bernadette dug into the ground, and a miraculous spring began to flow, a spring that would later become famous for its healing properties. On March 2nd, the lady requested that a chapel be built at the site of the grotto. On March 25th, the lady revealed her identity by saying, "I am the Immaculate Conception." The final apparition took place on July 16th, 1858, after which Bernadette never saw the lady again. One of the most astonishing aspects of the Lourdes apparitions was the identity of the lady. When she told Bernadette, "I am the Immaculate Conception," it was a theologically profound statement. The doctrine of the Immaculate Conception, which teaches that Mary was conceived without original sin, had been officially defined by Pope Pius IX in 1854, just 4 years before the apparitions. Bernadette, an illiterate peasant girl, could not have known this term on her own. This fact astonished the local priest and church authorities, strengthening the case that the apparitions were truly divine. The spring at Lourdes, revealed to Bernadette during the apparitions, quickly became a place of pilgrimage. The water, which was originally a muddy trickle, began to flow abundantly and with great purity. Soon after, reports of miraculous healings began to emerge. The Catholic Church launched thorough investigations into these healings, and over time, many were declared scientifically unexplainable. To this day, the sanctuary of Lourdes continues to be a place where the sick come seeking spiritual and physical healing. After the apparitions, Bernadette faced harsh scrutiny. People doubted her, criticized her, and even accused her of making up the visions. However, she remained humble and steadfast. In her testimony, in 1866, at the age of 22, she joined the Sisters of Charity at Nevers, where she lived the rest of her life in prayer and service. However, her health continued to decline due to tuberculosis. And by the age of 35, she passed away on April 16, 1879. When her body was exhumed several years later, it was found to be incorrupt, meaning it had not decayed. That was another miraculous sign of her holiness. Today, her body lies in the convent of Nevers, where thousands visit her shrine each year. Lourdes has become one of the most visited Catholic pilgrimage sites in the world. Millions travel there each year to pray, bathe in the healing waters, and seek spiritual renewal. The miraculous healings at Lourdes continue to be scientifically investigated, with 70 officially recognized miracles and thousands of documented cases of unexplained recoveries.